Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Do you hear me? Sure? Clap your hand for you. Clap your hand for you. Clap your hand for you. We are very happy to receive you for this specific session regarding the Sahel region in West Africa. We are very happy. Thank you so much. My name is Celestin Compaore. I am a regional director of the GMPAC from Gipaigo, covered in 8 countries in West Africa. Today we will talk about Sahel region. Who know the Sahel region? The Sahel region covered Senegal, Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, Chad, Sudan, and Eritrea. That is the Sahel region we will talk about today. The Sahel region, the poverty, food insecurity, violence, extremism, climate-related disaster, and displacement and wreaking havoc in the Sahel and causing unimaginable human suffering. That the Sahel region. At the same time, the Sahel is deprioritized as other crises take center stage at the global level. Again, this backdrop one additional factor threatened to exacerbate the region order the challenge to the point of insolubility. That factor is the region population growth rate, which is the high level they all. The number of the people suffering from extreme food insecurity over the past couple of years risen from 3.9 to 7.4 million. At the same time, the G5 style, which regroup Burkina Faso, Mali, Mauritania, Niger, and Chad countries, population is projected to double, surpassing 200 million by 2015. Nigeria is estimated to exacerbate 400 billion by mid-century and became the first most population country after Chinese and India. This is the reality of the Sahel. Just mentioning, let alone the situation. Today, we are happy to talk regarding Sahel region, and we have fantastic panelists. The first panelist is Sani Ayuba. Please clap our hand for Sani Ayuba. It is a director executive for Jeune Volontaire for Niger. This guy works to promote how we can protect the environment, how we can mobilize youth to protect the environment. The second, he will talk with our regarding the work we make in Niger, in the Sahel region in general. And the second person, the second panelist I will announce you is Aisha Bello. She's a team lead, Married Adolescent Program Center for Girl Education from Nigeria. Please clap for him, please. Another one big panelist we are lucky to have is Umukani. Umukani is a president of Amman. Amman, she's a director to Department of Football Feminine, Football for Women in Mauritania. Please clap for her, please. Another panelist we have is Luc Componel, one of our big leaders, which work in the West Africa regarding youth and adolescent access to the sexually reproductive and to pushing women rights in West and Central Africa. Please clap for Luc, please. She works she's an advocacy team lead to Oasis, Coordination L, the Sahel. She's based in Belgium. Thank you so much for our great panelists. We are very happy, we are lucky to have you on this session. The question I want to know is that who has read any positive about the Sahel? I will ask all of the participants, all of you who have read anything positive about the Sahel lately. Please raise your hand if you have this situation. No person. That's why no good news from the Sahel. That's why we are here. That's why we are here to promote the good news for the Sahel. That's why we are here to know how we can push in women access to sexual and reproductive health in the Sahel area. Improving, for this situation, I will give them the floor, the first to Sunny. Sunny will talk about the climate change in population, a difficult conversion, but youth get it. Sunny, you will introduce yourself.
Bonjour, good morning. You know, it's not easy for French-speaking countries guys to speak English, but that's why maybe some people think that this session must be in French, but we are doing it in English. So I'm Sani Ayuba, co-founder and executive director of YVE. In French, we say JVE, Young Volunteer for Environment, created since 2009 and based in Niamey. We have some chapter also in some West African and Eastern African countries. So YV is a young-led movement that tries to advocate and promote youth participation in the field of sustainable development. So population and family planning are almost completely missing from the policy discussion. I was last week at the COP27. I just come from there to hear. It is not easy to find like space where people discuss about, in terms of policy, the linkage between climate change and family planning. But there is a lot of linkage that we must think about it and try to discuss about those ones. You know, the population growth and climate change are directly linked and should be considered within their broader socioeconomic, environmental, and health aspect. So that's something that we must think about it. Celestin has already pointed about the population growth, how the population grow in Sahel. We must doubling our population in the next coming years. Nigeria is among the countries with the largest high population in Africa in generally and West Africa also. So that's something that we must think about it. And we already know that research shows that increasing access to family planning augment climate resilience and adaptive capacity at the individual, community, and national level. The research show also that it's very important to see the linkage about family planning and climate change. That's why in our advocacy work, we try to fighting to augment the demand and also how we can consider the family planning in our NAPS. NAPS is the National Adaptation Plan, is under the UNCCC, the United Nations Convention on Climate Change. So each country's member of this party have to develop their NAPS. So in our NAPS, we are trying to see how we can push to have family planning among the key priorities for the Niger. So that's the discussion that we started 2 years ago, and we're still in. But we are continually being opposed in our effort. Why? It's not because a lack of awareness about the linkage, but you know, in Sahel area, we have a lot of beliefs. We have a lot of tradition, a lot of challenges also. So for people, they don't, it's not because they didn't see the linkage, but they are not ready to see, to talk about this kind of linkage, climate change, family, population, grow, all those aspects. But, however, youth get it. Therefore, GVE, like my organization, we co-organized a youth forum last October. This National Youth Forum gathered like 100 young people coming from the 8 regions in Niger. And the topic, the key topic is the climate change and demographic dividend, the challenges that we are facing. How young people that work in climate change issues and family planning can stay together and discuss about it. So we have this kind of discussion. And also, in addition, we continue our advocacy program. We targeting the member of the parliament. We already have some discussion with the member of the parliament. And also we targeting the ministry in charge of environment issue because they are the one that's leading our NDC, the NDC is also under the Paris Agreement on Climate Change. It's the national determined contribution. It's like a kind of volunteer program strategy for the country to review his greenhouse gas emission and also a kind of adaptation plan. So that's why we target the minister in charge of environment to see also how they can put or they can have a discussion about the family planning in their strategy. So as you know, the family planning and girl education and also climate change are a kind of policy priorities in my country, in Niger. So the need is to just have a kind of space for action so that the right and coherent decisions are taken without any fear of potential backlash, but with a clear understanding of the urgency and the potential. So that's the thing that we are doing actually. During the COP also, we discussed about the negotiator of Francophone-speaking countries. So the discussion is ongoing because, you know, the key demand for this COP is about the loss and damages. So we try to see how we can put the population growth and family planning issue on this kind of discussion at this level also. Thank you.
Thank you, Sunny, for your good experience and for your good job. You are working on Niger, and it's very fantastic to know the links with the climate change, environment, and the family planning. That's a very great job. I remember this first youth forum to link sexually reproductive health right and the environment protection. That's very fantastic. Thank you for this experience sharing. Another panelist, good panelist we have is we discuss more girl in the style, marry during adolescence, let them lead the change. I will give the floor for our next panelist. Our next panelist is Aisha. You will share experience. Aisha, you have the floor.
Hello, everyone. I'm Aisha Bello Aminu from Center for Girls Education in Zaria, Kaduna State, Nigeria. I'm the team lead for the Married Adolescent Safe Spaces, where we prepare married adolescent girls in rural community to take control of their lives through family planning. So 54 out of most girls in Northwest married at the age of, that's between the ages of 15 and 24, married at the age of 15, and 84% at the age of 18. So this is a very disturbing issue. The challenges are evident because there is early child marriage, maternal mortality and morbidity, gender-based violence, sexual exploitation, sexually transmitted infections, and there is also the lack of autonomy in the rural communities for the girls. So, but these girls have huge potentials to change, and they are drivers of change. So the Center for Girls Education designed a program to address these issues and the underlying issues for the demand of family planning in rural communities where married adolescent girls demand for family planning. That's the girls between the ages of 13 and 19. And it helps them to better navigate the multiple disadvantages they face. So, girls who have gone through our safe spaces, are better prepared to define and express their goals and aspirations, particularly those related to marriage, childbearing, and livelihood, and they gain voice and agency in the communities. So girls, when given information and support, are able to take control of their lives as to regards to childbearing, maternal and infant health, gender-based violence, sexually transmitted infection. So for example, the number of visits to health facilities increased fourfold, and family planning uptake has increased from 3% to 65% in the girls, because before they don't have access to health facilities and they don't have the knowledge on family planning. So this amazing result underline how girls, when given holistic support, can make autonomous decisions for themselves and the health of their families and communities. So the key success factors which led to the great result of the program, of our program, include the engagement with traditional and community leaders to evaluate and endorse the program before implementation. And then the support from key community leaders was instrumental to community acceptance and participation in the program. So what amazed me the most is that these married girls are very receptive to family planning, unlike before, and they can convince their husbands and family on the optic of their family planning optics. So they have voice and agency and can communicate better what they want. So what we normally teach them as the safe spaces are life skills, which include literacy and numeracy. And sometimes we teach them vocational training so that it can help them in their communities too. So I think that's all. Thank you.
Thank you so much for to increase the girl capacity for access for the sexual and reproductive health right in Nigeria. Thanks for this good job. Our next panelist will be Umu. Umu is based from Mauritania. She make the good job to promote women leadership in Mauritania. Umu, you have the floor. Please share your experience for your working in Mauritania.
Thank you so much. I'm very glad to take part of this great event in Pattaya, Thailand. First time to come in Asia. So I'm Omo from Mauritania. I am a co-founder of an organization called AMAM, Multicultural Association for a Better Future, to empower women and youth in our country to know the big role they can play in fighting for their rights. And also, I was appointed in 2016 as responsible of female soccer department at Mauritanian Federation. Why I was appointed to be the responsible female soccer department? Because in our organization, we see we were always fighting for to end violence against women that is happening in our country. So we see there is a game, it's very powerful, and it is a game only known for men. It was soccer, football. So in the International Women's Day in 2013, we say, let's go. We will play football, and they all were shocked that women in Mauritania, a conservative country, and an Islamic Republic country, we put it on social media, and I know there was a curiosity to see us playing football, but we did it because we knew that they will more concentrate about this game that we are going to play, but in the other side, we know that the message we are going to make them understand what women really is struggling in our country, that that day it will work. And this is what really happens. So we went, every year we organize on International Women's Day talking about soccer. So I went to the federation. We said we will ask the president to be part of this activity that we are organizing. It just was like a miracle for them. They said we were looking at someone who can be responsible, because in our country it is not easy to have that person that can make it real, female soccer in our country. So Umu, can you come back see us? We really want you to be the responsible of female soccer. We don't know anything about female soccer. We want to make it real in the country. So I said, oh, this is a huge responsibilities. Let's us see. He said, no, we will see it grow, take initiative, and let's see. So when I was appointed, these young ladies that I met in some places, they came to see me. They said, we heard that you are appointed as a responsible of female soccer. We love soccer. We want to play soccer. So please, We came several times in the federation, but it's never happened for us to make it real. So we count on you, Umu. I said, okay, I will do my best to make your dream come true. So in 2016, now we are 2022, we worked really hard. Even in the federation, they were afraid how the leaders, religious, will talk about seeing women playing football. But the chance I have, I already have with my NGO working to fight for women's rights. So I said, letting the young girl play football, the same way we're fighting for women's rights, it is the same way we have to fight for girls to play. So you are a young woman, you love football, and it is your right to play soccer. It is your passion. So we'll work on that. So we organized an international activities to start. It's called Live Your Goal in 2017, November 2016. We invite a lot of NGOs and to schools, like 200 young girls from the age of 9 to 12. So at the federation, they came, it was a start for us. They came to the federation, they saw that everything is pink there. They were shocked. What is happening here today? We said, yeah, you have to get ready because it is the beginning of a long journey to make us female soccer a reality in Mauritania. So it was an amazing day, full of young ladies. They were playing, enjoying football, soccer. So the next year, we said, yes, let us now see how we can organize a competition, national competition. We gave training to men and girls, how they can be trainers of these young ladies. And it's really worked with the schools. Yeah, we worked with the schools, and we find that ladies, even my president, he was surprised to see all these young ladies who really loved this game. And today we had like 2 teams, national teams. Teams in 2019, it's happened. We have like girls aged from 13 to 29 playing soccer. And it was like even women who are passionate on something, seeing this woman playing football, really gave hope to all women who are fighting for the rights. That's when you are passionate about something, just work for it. You just have to find a way that can help you live your passion. And this is what really happened in my country. It's changed mentalities for men and girls and women. And today we worked hard to make them be leaders and to fight for their rights. And I see or today some organizations, some NGOs, whenever they're organizing about family planning, about to advocate about health, a lot of activities, they used to call us. We want to organize a game. Yeah, you have to organize a game, and today I'm very proud to see most of them doing a great and amazing work in our country, and I'm very happy that I make their dream come true. Yes.
Thank you, Umu. Thank you to support the women to realize your dream just to play football. That's fantastic. Thanks for help the girl to build the football, to build a team, football team in Mauritania. Thanks. Another panelist will be a fantastic person. She's a leader. She works in West Africa to support women access to sexual and reproductive health, right? And to pushing youth and adolescent access to sexual and reproductive health in West and Central Africa. I'm pleased to announce you Lou Component. Lou, you will talk connecting the dot between sector and across the globe. You, Lou Component, you have the floor.
Good. Thank you. Thank you so much, the panelists, and well, most important of all, friends who are up here with me. I'm going to talk about a fantastic group that we just set up of 16 feminists from across the Sahel, but also based in the European Union and in the US, who are all connecting the dots and fighting for more funding for the Sahel. I could talk about this for hours. I am so passionate about this, but I'm also very sad about what's happening. I'm happy that we have about 20 people in the room, but I'm also sad that it is only 20, because what is awaiting the Sahel in the coming years is something that deserves attention, and it deserves more attention than that we're getting. We made a huge effort to do this panel in English. It's not easy, but it was a conscious choice to have more people in the room, because we are crying out. There are so many lives on the line. So I just want to thank you for at least being here from the bottom of my heart. So the fight that we are fighting with the 16 fantastic women is a fight that is really about the whole woman and the whole girl. Because as you've heard from Sani and from Aisha and from Umu, we're not talking just about access to reproductive health. We're talking about rights. We're talking about access to education. We are talking about the right to play, the right just to be. And that is what we're going to be fighting for with these 16 women. And our goal in all this sort of diversity, the group of 16 women are engineers, we have a parliamentarian, we have doctors, we have a rapper, a slameuse, we have people aged between 23 and 68. So it's a super diverse group of activists. And together, we want to make sure that the voice of the Sahel is finally heard, because there's so many commitments at the country level. There are commitments at the global level. There are commitments at the regional level, but for some reason, all these commitments and all this talk, just like there being only 20 people or 25 people in this room today, is not leading to increased funding for girls' education, gender issues, or family planning, and it is just incomprehensible, because it's an absolute priority and it's the only thing that can change the dial. And there's more and more and more funding going into military issues, into guns and into bombs, but it is just not helping the people in the region, and it makes me insanely angry and upset. However, there's also a hopeful message, because this is not about the problems, it's about the potential of the Sahel, and it's also about the potential to change systems. So that is what we're going to do with our 16 feminists. Umu is part of the group. We have Paige with us. We have Kaya with us, who's here today. We're all supporting each other. And our goal is to, with the networks that these amazing women have, we have thousands of women behind us who are supporting this. So we are going to bring that message up to the G5, the G5 regional bodies. We are going to bring that message up to the Alliance Sahel, where there's not a mention of family planning in their strategies. There is not a mention of the importance of girls' education, and it's just embedded in small working groups, and it's not a priority. But it is, and it should be. So together we are going to be raising our voices. We are going to be inserting family planning, girls' education, gender, and climate change issues into the big agendas to get more funding. And I hope, and I'm hopeful, that we can finally change the system that is so skewed and finally get the attention that the Sahel deserves and the Sahel people deserve, because they are living lives that they have not chosen, that have been chosen for them by those who have been suppressing those countries for way too long, that are still extracting the resources and not paying back what they have been taken. So it's time. So thank you again for being here, and I hope that next time round we will be 100 or 200, or really, in all honesty, there should have been 3,000 people in this room.
Thank you, Lou. Thank you, Lou, for this experience. All it's possible to change the situation from the Sahel region. It's possible to promote women right in the Sahel region. That is our goal for our each person we are in this room. Clap for all the person, please. Thanks for the panelists. I have the question for each panelist. A couple of the questions for the participant, after which I will ask the audience their question. The first question I have is from Lou. Lou, there are so many networks out there, the Sahel. What is the difference you will make when you build network, the Sahel? What is the difference will make, your job you will make different with another network in the Sahel region?
Thanks. Merci. Thanks. I will tell you what's different. We met 2 weeks ago, or 3 weeks ago in Dakar, with women, female leaders from some of the most strict countries in the world. We managed to talk about cunnilingus. We managed to talk about abortion. We managed to talk about our feelings. We managed to talk about our lives, our losses, and everything in between. It was real. It was a real meeting, and it was a real connection between people and between spirits. Because we realized that with all our diversity, what I just said, our ages, our backgrounds, our expertise, but we were connecting around the same purpose.
Yeah.
And that is unique. And we set our values together, the values of sisterhood and equity and trust and courage. And I've seen it play out, even just over the past 3 weeks. One of our girls was stuck in Dakar because she couldn't return to Chad because of the political situation. Her life was in danger. We rallied around her, we supported her as best as we could. We were immediately sort of a sounding board. And we're following up on each other. We're taking care. So we're not a network of people having raised their hands and said, oh, yeah, sure, I'll be part of this network. No, we're a sisterhood. We're together, and we're committed. So that's how we're different.
Thank you so much. Work together, you will realize your dream. That's possible if we work together. Thank you so much for this answer. Another question I have is from Aisha. Aisha, what were the key success factors which led to the great result of the program, and what have you been most amazed about this?
Okay, the key success factors which led to what we are doing now is the engagement of traditional and religious leaders of the communities to endorse what we are doing, so that they will help and tell the husbands so that they can allow the girls to come to the safe spaces. So, and what amazes me the most is that these girls are receptive to family planning. So, and they are eager, and now they have voice, and they can ask their husbands to go to the hospital and uptake some of the family planning methods. So I think that's what amazes me the most.
That's a very amazing result you make for your job. Thank you so much. I'm sure if you have community leader with you, you will achieve your goal.
Yes.
If you are the community leader with you, you can promote best the woman and the girl right in your community. Thank you. Another question I have is concerning Umu. Are we something too careful when it comes to the girl in the Sahel for few and backlash, and have you forced opposition?
Yes, of course. In a religious country, and to make this real, we really face it, a really tough situation. I can give an example. Farmer Anne, for example, seeing her playing football, her family said it is not normal. Maybe it's devils, and they stopped her education and took her back to the village. I worked really hard to bring her back to the capital city and to let her live her dream with the support of her uncle who have very open-minded. I look after her where she is, she disappears. And also, they are sometimes attacked in some places and telling her, you look like boys. You see what they're facing. But what I really did, I said, yeah, I see, I have to make them be very powerful in this kind of situation. So the first support they can have, it is their family, their parents. The first support that you can have, it is your family first. Maybe the family can have the influence around and be afraid, but we worked really hard to make their parents and to understand you are the first support. The Federation, we are here to cover this, and this is real. It will open a door for the girls because actually when I'm talking about soccer, we have an international player in Morocco, in Gambia, in Senegal.
Wow.
So this is a successful,
Fantastic.
and parents understand that there is a way to make their be international, and we went to Spain to play there in Tunisia. They went to play, and some of them never had papers. We show the parents you need to work really hard for the future of your children and be close to them, talk to them, because sometimes we neglect this. But with this situation, we really work hard to make the parents the first support in the family. When you have the family support, the rest, they can handle it. And this is what really worked.
Thank you, Umo. When you have family support, the family opened the door for the girl to realize her dream to play football in Mauritania. Thank you for sharing this experience. Sunny, I know that maybe JVE with Oasis and Japaigo with support with Dutch Embassy in Niger organized the first forum regarding the links, environment and the sexual and reproductive health right. That's good. You're talking about it. That's fantastic. A question I have for you is regarding what drove you to focus integrating family planning into the climate agenda in Niger?
Yes, I believe really that the climate change must be considered just like a crisis. It can be considered also as a kind of opportunity, because right now actually every country is trying to have like some policies regarding climate change. So I believe also that without considering population, we can have like a real and adaptive plan or a long-term development goal without taking the population issue in consideration. So for me, it's very important. Actually, it's a time. It's not tomorrow or next year. It is now that we must start this kind of discussion to see, because the country receives support from the Green Climate Fund to develop a strategy. We already have what they call NAPs. So I think this is for us a time to discuss about it and to let them know, or if we can push them to integrate it, but we can start something right now. So that's for me the main thing to advocate for. So we receive like a lot of support around young people, and also in the parliament, because the former president himself, we have the chance to meet him, and we start discussion. And when we discuss with the parliamentarian, they say, you know, we are politicians, so this issue of population, we understand that's a kind of challenge for our country, but you don't have to forget about our beliefs, our tradition. So we want to be elected next year. So we can't go like this, but we support you. We can see how we can do later. So for us, the research show that it's very important to start this kind of discussion, even at the UN level, the UNFCCC, the UN United Nations Convention on Climate Change. They have like research and studies that show clearly, even in Paris Agreement, that's very important to have this kind of consideration. So due to our work, I think they put a chapter, actually they put like a kind of topic regarding health issue, but we hope before the end of the process that they can be able to put clearly, because it's a kind of, the country must choose his priorities regarding adaptation. We have the key sector, so health is among the key sector. So we need now for them to adopt, like clearly mentioned, that family planning must be considered among the climate change adaptation strategies. So that's allowed the country to mobilize some green fund for under the climate finance mechanism. And also that can help the Ministry of Health to be faced to the issue of money regarding contraceptive method or all those tools that they need to improve the lives of the community. So that's why, and it's the better way is to engaging people in this kind of journey also.
Thank you. It's very important to work with the politician, with all of our government to take account the question regarding the population demographic, the question regarding the population and the national adaptation strategy. That is very important. And another thing is to work with the Ministry of Health to take account the problematic of the climate change and the national policy regarding population access for the health in general. That is very important, the thing. Thank you so much for the good panelists. I know that it's very important of youth and the key role they play of the family planning to integration of in combination with education and actually place responding to opportunities in other sectors. That is very important, like married adolescent, climate change, and football. That is very, very important. I think, I don't know if for the participants, if you have the question for the panelists. If you have a question for the panelists, I can take a few moments to discuss if the participant do have a question. Comment, question or comment. Okay. Can I have someone who's help with microphone, please? Or you can pass here. Microphone. Or if you can speak louder.
I can speak up. Thank you. That was really inspirational, sobering, hearing from you all. Sani, you mentioned, and I just wondered across the panel, thank you. You mentioned how there's an acknowledgement of the issue amongst politicians, but a concern about the response from their electorate or societies. And I just wondered whether that's the case across the Sahel, what the experience is within your regions of the willingness of politicians to address it and the resistance that they face.
Thank you.
Sorry, what was it? I'll take this one. Across the region, what do you think is needed to persuade the politicians that they should be taking more action in this area?
Okay, thank you. Another question or comment? Yes, yeah, please.
Thank you. My name is Paul. I'm from Uganda. I wanted to inquire on what work you're doing with other civil society or actors or NGOs or movements within your countries to make sure that you push this agenda forward. Because you seem to be heavily relying on working with politicians, especially as you spoke. But usually, oftentimes you find that politicians are these kind of people who are playing in between the dynamics of your work and their next election such that they get the next mandate. So would you put it clear, how are you working with other civil society actors to mobilize and galvanize around these issues that you are tackling, and so also to build the critical mass that you need to be able to advance your voices in terms of promoting family planning and climate change interventions? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Another question? Yeah.
Thank you so much, panelists. This is just really, really inspirational and great to hear. I'm a researcher, and I'm very interested in the intersection of climate change and sexual reproductive health and gender equality. And so I was wondering, from your experience, what type of evidence do you think we need to prioritize to be able to embolden the movement and convince the people that need to be convinced to fund and make these changes? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Another one? Okay.
Hi, thank you. I'm from the United States, and talking about the connection between population and climate change, but population really overall is a touchy subject because of the history of coercion and colonialism. And so it's a really hard it's really hard to talk about. And so, Sani, I'd be curious how you would talk to a US audience to bring them into this conversation, because I think it's really important. But we're met with a lot of resistance, and so we want to bring people into the conversation, and I'm curious how you would do it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Sani, and all of the participants. You can answer the question, please.
Okay, thank you very much for the question. That's show that is a real interest, and this topic is very interesting for people. So for the question, the first question, as we know, the politicians around the Sahel and everywhere, their main concern is to be sure that they must be elected or they must keep the power. So what's happened is to be sure for them before taking decision or follow or support something, they have to be sure that it's not against some beliefs. Even they trust on you, they agree on the evidences, they agree on the linkage, but the majority in our community, the lack of education. She already mentioned about that. So this is an issue, so people don't understand. Because we don't have a good education system that allow the majority of our community to go to school, to learn more and understand what's happening around the world and what's happening around their community and their environment. So that's a kind of challenge that we have. So that's why even if we have a president that is very passionate about the topic, but sometimes they are afraid themselves. They are afraid. They really can support clearly the kind of issue, because we all coming from a kind of Muslim countries. In Niger, we have more than 98% of the population that are Muslim, and 70% of the population are living in rural area. So in this rural area, we don't have a good education system. We don't have schools or those things. So people don't understand this kind of linkage. So because they believe that if you are a man, you are allowed to have up to 4 women, to have more than children that you want. So for a president, for a politician to come and say, you have to be careful because actually you are living the climate crisis. We have, every year we are facing to drought, flooding, degrading, our land is degrading. But people don't care about that because they know that for them in their beliefs, it's God behind all those things. So it's really difficult for our politicians. Sometimes we understand them, but that's why it's very important to invest in education, because if the community are well educated, they can understand these challenges and they can have a kind of ownership of this. But the majority of the population honor the subject, but they're afraid just because it's not they are not willing, but they just need to keep the power. That's why they didn't took position, or they don't want to say clearly their position that. Even at the parliament, we don't have a kind of rule in terms of family rule. Every year, every parliament, when they come, they want to do something like this. The population, the religious and traditional leaders try to make some demonstration against that. So that's an issue. They're afraid on that. So we are looking for a kind of solution. But for me, the main thing is the education. If you well educate our community, we invest in the girl education, we must achieve this kind of goals. So for the second question also, like I say, in October, we have the first youth forum on climate and population reproductive health. This is a kind of event open for several youth organizations. We gather 100 young people from around the country coming for more than 30 youth organizations. That's a first step for us to discuss not only among our members, but to gain support with other youth organizations, even some civil society organizations also. So we try to build a strong network on that. We already established with Oasis at the regional level some task forces to make advocacy with the local leaders, because at each region we have like some, the contexts are different. So we establish some task forces with the young leaders that we train them on the key topics, so they are trying to push the discussion at the regional level on that subject. And at the national level, we are part of several networks with civil society organizations, and we try to build something about that. So in terms of evidence, I think it's not a lack of evidence in our context. It's just a term of beliefs. But it's very important to let people understand that the degradation of the environment is increasing by the climate change. That's something that we have to know, and they have to see the evidence on that. And it's very important also for me in terms of evidence to see the rate of the population, like the average of age, and also the current activities and in the past. Because in the past, people used to maintain the main activity regarding agriculture and animal husbandry, all those things. But now you can feed your family by just doing agriculture in our context, not easy in Sahel. Because all the agriculture activities are based in rainfall, the raining season. In the past, it's 3 months, but like now, it will be like 6 weeks or 7 weeks or 4 weeks a year. So this is an issue that people must know. And if they know that because actually we are facing to human mobility, people leave their village because of drought, because of flooding. So it's a kind of issue that if you have a large family, it can be tough for you. So we can show this kind of evidence, maybe that can be helpful. Go ahead.
Okay.
Okay. So I think the last question, how we can bring this conversation with people, it wasn't easy at the first time. We were invited in at the regional level for a national conference. It's a kind of workshop for the process of the national adaptation plan. Once there, when they give us the opportunity, 5 minutes to share why we need to talk about family planning in this process of climate change. People themselves that working for the government institution, they didn't believe. You can imagine people that are well educated, they didn't see, because they see the religious belief. They say, no, this is not, we are talking about climate change, we are talking about the adaptation. Why you bring this topic here? We try to show them some evidence. We try to show them that even in the Paris Agreement or some research, but they are afraid, they don't want to have the discussion with us. They say, okay, that's okay, we can discuss later. But when you see their face and the way that they follow, it's like they didn't get any interest about this issue. At this level of well-educated people. So when you go to discuss with the rural community that didn't went to school or something like this, it will not be easy. But we are ready to do this conversation, and we will see maybe for the next coming years we can have something done.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm just going to take 1 minute to take the floor, because I think the evidence is really important. There's evidence that is already there. We're talking a lot about opposition, but the reality is also that actually 1/4 of women in the Sahel, they want to limit space or stop their childbirth. So that's an opportunity that's there, and those are numbers that are maybe not known as much, but that we can easily work with. I think what is important for me, and what we're seeing from the amazing work that Aisha is doing and the amazing work that Umo is doing, is that research showing that holistic approaches work is really important in the Sahel. So how can we integrate family planning into these safe spaces? How do we integrate family planning into the girls playing soccer and their role as leaders? So that sort of holistic approach that makes it more acceptable. And I think that also answers the question about opposition to linking population growth and family planning, is that oftentimes we also self-censure. So we think in the Sahel that we cannot talk about it, But my experience, and I'm asking my panelists that whether for them it's the same, is actually that link, they know that exists because they're living it. They know that they are no longer with the small piece of agricultural land. They know that they can no longer feed their family because their families are growing and the land is decreasing. There's terrorism, so they are moving from the north where there's a lot of or more rain to regions where there's less rain. So it's not an argument that you have to convince the people in the Sahel about because they're living it and they're feeling it. So we should also be careful not to self-censure. But I don't know, Umu or Aisha, whether you have an opinion.
You want to add something, Umu or Aisha? Oh, it's okay? Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the answer of the question. Thank you so much for our great panelists for the contribution. And now we think we need to have a holistic approach for integration, climate change, and the family planning policy, and vice versa. That's very important for the Sahel region. I think it's the importance of youth and the key role they play. We have heard about the importance and the success of the family planning, integration, and the combination with education and inequality place responding to the opportunities in the other sector, marriage, adolescent, climate change, football. It's possible. All of things is possible to pushing the woman right in the Sahel region. It's possible. To realize this dream, we need to support. We need all of donors support to pushing women right in the sexual and reproductive health right in the Sahel. We have the initiative. We have a dream. Each of you can support to realize this dream. We need more investment. We need more donors to support the Sahel region to increase the capacity for the women and to give women power. Thank you so much for your participation. We need more donors to invest in the Sahel region. The money is important, yes, but local and the international and accessing new fund, resilience, climate, so also no traditional. It is now time for question and observation to end from the audience. Please keep in brief. We are very happy for your participation. Thank you so much for your participation, and I hope we will support together to realize this dream to give women power. Thank you so much for a great participation.